Most people are trying to impress everyone, except themselves. You wake up, scroll your phone, see everyone else's progress, and quietly ask yourself, why am I still behind? You've got dreams, ideas, plans, but deep down, you still don't trust yourself to follow through. That's the problem, not a lack of talent, not bad luck, just a lack of self-belief earned through your own actions. This video is not about motivation that fades in an hour. It's about something real, proving yourself to yourself through daily effort, quiet discipline, private wins. If you're tired of feeling like you're always starting over, this is for you. If you want to wake up proud of who you are, not because of what people say, but because of what you've done, stay with me. This could be the mindset shift that finally gets you out of your own way. Chapter 1. Show yourself who you truly are. When a person decides to change their life, it often begins quietly. No one claps, no one notices. There's no music, no lights, no audience, just a thought, small, private but powerful. A thought that says, I can do better, I can be more. That's where it starts. Not with others seeing your potential, but with you seeing it yourself. Because until you truly see yourself, until you face who you are, you'll always chase the wrong things, trying to fill the wrong spaces. Most people spend their lives proving themselves to others. They try to fit in, to look good, to be accepted. They want someone to say, you're doing great. But when you live for that kind of approval, you lose touch with your own truth. You forget who you are beneath the noise. You forget what you stand for. Proving yourself to yourself means you turn that around. You stop performing for the world, and you start performing for your own standards. It's not about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Showing yourself who you truly are is not about creating a new image. It's about uncovering the real one that's been buried under fear, doubt, and habit. The version of you that exists when no one is around, when there's no camera, no applause, no expectations. That's the real test of character, what you do when no one is watching. When you choose to do the right thing, not because it looks good, but because it feels right inside. To show yourself who you are, start by looking honestly at your life. Not with judgment, but with clarity. Take a quiet moment and ask, am I proud of how I spend my days? Am I becoming the person I said I'd be? These questions aren't easy, but they open the door to real growth. Because you can't change what you won't face. You can't improve what you won't admit. Honesty with yourself is the foundation of all progress. When you face your truth, you may not like everything you see. Maybe you see inconsistency. Maybe you see fear or excuses. Maybe you see potential wasted. That's all right. Most of us start there. The goal is not to shame yourself. It's to understand yourself. Once you understand, you can choose. You can decide what stays and what goes. You can rebuild your habits, your thoughts, and your direction. Every great transformation begins with a decision, and that decision begins with truth. You know, the reason many people never grow is that they spend their lives running from themselves. They distract, they scroll, they talk about goals they never start. They fill the silence because they're afraid of what they'll hear in it. But growth happens in that silence. When you sit with your thoughts long enough, you start to see what you really value. You start to see what matters. You realize that most of what you chase isn't even yours, it's borrowed from the world. And the moment you let that go, you feel lighter. You start walking your own path. The real you doesn't need to impress anyone. The real you is focused, disciplined, kind, and capable. But to bring that person out, you have to challenge your comfort zone. You have to test your limits. Because every time you push yourself to do what's uncomfortable, you prove something important. You prove that you can trust yourself. And trust is what builds confidence. Not compliments, not applause, trust. When you keep promises to yourself, your mind learns that you can rely on you. That's where real strength is born. Think about this. Every day you have two choices. You can stay the same, or you can grow. You can take the easy way, or you can take the meaningful one. The easy way keeps you comfortable, but stuck. The meaningful way stretches you, challenges you, and shapes you into something greater. Growth doesn't come with comfort, it comes with resistance. Just like muscles grow from tension, character grows from challenge. Every time you do something difficult, you show yourself your potential. That's how you prove who you are, not by talking about change, but by living it. You can't fake this process. You can't pretend your way to growth. You have to earn it. And earning it means doing the small things right every day. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing what you start. Being honest when it's easier to lie. Treating others with respect even when they don't deserve it. That's how you build self-respect. Not through big achievements, but through small acts of discipline. The person who masters small things will always handle big ones when they come. There will be days when it feels hard, days when you question if it's worth it. You'll be tempted to quit, to take shortcuts, to go back to old habits. Those moments are the real test. Because when it's easy, everyone can do it. But when it's tough, when the reward is far away, that's when you find out what you're made of. That's when you see the strength you didn't know you had. If you keep showing up for yourself on those days, you'll never lose. Because even if you don't reach the goal yet, you've built something far more valuable: character. Character is the invisible foundation that holds your entire life together. It's what keeps you going when motivation fades. It's what helps you make the right choice when no one would ever know otherwise. When you build character, you build inner peace. You no longer need to prove yourself to the world because you already know who you are inside. You stop comparing, you stop competing, you just keep improving. Self-awareness is another part of this journey. Many people want change, but few take time to understand why they do what they do. They repeat the same mistakes and call it fate. But when you slow down and reflect, you start to see patterns. You see how fear drives some choices, how comfort holds you back, how ego whispers excuses. Once you see that, you gain power over it. Awareness gives you choice. Choice gives you control. And control gives you freedom. You can't change what you don't notice, but once you notice, you can transform it. Be patient with yourself. Growth isn't instant. It's not a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong and clear. Other days you'll feel lost. That's normal. What matters is that you don't stop. Every small effort adds up. Every small win builds momentum. Progress happens quietly, day by day, until one morning you wake up and realize you're not the same person anymore. You've become the version of yourself you used to dream about. And that realization doesn't come from others telling you, it comes from within. Remember, you are not in competition with anyone else. The only competition worth having is between who you are and who you could be. Comparison steals your focus. When you look at others, you forget your own race. But when you look inward, you gain direction. Your journey is yours alone. Your timeline, your progress, your lessons, they're all unique. Honor that. Work for your own satisfaction, not someone else's applause. Self-respect is built on discipline. It's built on saying, I'll do this, and then doing it, no matter how you feel. Feelings are temporary, but the results of your actions last. So train yourself to act with intention, not emotion. The mind follows where discipline leads. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's certainty built from effort. You don't need to say you believe in yourself when your actions already prove it. When you start showing yourself who you truly are, you'll feel something shift inside. You'll stop being desperate for recognition. You'll stop seeking permission. You'll start walking with quiet assurance. People will notice, but that won't be your goal anymore. Your goal will be integrity, living in alignment with your values, your vision, your truth. You'll look in the mirror and know that the person staring back is honest, reliable, and growing. That feeling cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It's earned through effort, patience, and honesty. There's a point where you stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start saying, "I will do this." That's when you begin to trust yourself deeply. And once you trust yourself, the world changes. You stop depending on luck. You stop waiting for the right time. You make your own momentum. You take control of your story. Every day becomes another chance to show yourself what you're capable of. And that builds a quiet confidence that doesn't fade when life gets hard. Life will test you. It always does. It will put obstacles in your way, not to stop you, but to help you see what's inside you. Every challenge is a mirror. It reflects your mindset, your patience, your strength. When you face those challenges with courage and commitment, you discover your true self. You realize that you are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever imagined. And that realization becomes fuel for the rest of your journey. So, what does it mean to show yourself who you truly are? It means taking ownership of your story. It means being honest about where you are and committed to where you want to go. It means standing up for yourself when you fall short, not with excuses, but with accountability. It means believing that your effort matters, because it does. Every action, every choice, every moment of discipline adds up to something extraordinary, the best version of you. When you live this way, something powerful happens. You stop chasing happiness and you start creating it. You stop waiting for opportunities and you start building them. You stop asking for motivation and you start being the reason you keep going. That's what it means to prove yourself to yourself, not through words, but through the quiet power of daily action. In the end, you'll find that life becomes simpler. You'll measure success not by how much you have, but by how proud you feel of who you are becoming. That's real success, knowing that you showed up for yourself, that you stayed honest, that you kept growing. And when you live that way, you'll no longer need to prove anything to anyone, because the only approval that truly matters will already be yours. Chapter 2. Work hard until you trust yourself. Trust is something most people seek from others, but the greatest kind of trust is the one you build with yourself. It's that deep, quiet belief that says, "I can rely on me." But that kind of trust isn't given, it's earned, and it's earned through hard work, consistency, and daily commitment. You can't fake it, you can't buy it, and you can't talk your way into it. You have to do the work until the doubt disappears, until your mind believes what your actions keep proving. When you decide to work hard until you trust yourself, you are choosing to stop living off empty promises. You stop saying you'll start tomorrow. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You stop giving energy to excuses. Instead, you build discipline through action. Trust doesn't grow from motivation. It grows from doing what you said you would do, over and over, especially when it's inconvenient. Every time you follow through, your mind learns something powerful. You mean what you say. Working hard is not just about long hours or physical effort. It's about showing up for your life with full intention. It's about doing the small things right, even when no one would know if you skipped them. It's about pushing yourself when it's easier to settle. It's about setting a standard that makes you proud. Most people want confidence before they take action, but that's backward. Confidence comes after you've earned your own respect. You have to do the hard things first. The belief follows after. When you trust yourself, you no longer waste energy on doubt. You stop second-guessing every choice. You move differently, calm, focused, certain. But to reach that place, you must pass through the uncomfortable stage of doing things that test your limits. You have to show up early, stay late, and give more than expected, not because someone is watching, but because you want to build credibility with yourself. Every day you stay consistent, you lay another brick in the foundation of that trust. Think about the times you've told yourself, "I'll start eating better," or "I'll work on that project tomorrow," and then you didn't. Those moments matter. Each time you break your own promise, your mind takes note. You start to doubt your word. You begin to feel like you can't rely on yourself, and that affects everything: your goals, your confidence, your peace of mind. But the opposite is also true. When you do what you said you would do, even in small things, your mind learns that your word is real. You begin to move with quiet confidence, not because you've achieved everything, but because you've earned your own trust. Hard work builds belief. You can't think your way into trust. You have to act your way into it. Every rep in the gym, every extra hour of study, every time you say no to distraction, you're telling yourself, "I'm serious about my life." That message sinks deep. It rewires your mind. It replaces doubt with certainty. And when that happens, you stop looking for external validation because you've already validated yourself through effort. You know you're starting to trust yourself when you don't need to announce what you're doing. You just do it. There's no need for attention or recognition because you already know the truth. You're showing up. The results will come. Hard work has a language of its own. It speaks through your progress, your energy, your attitude. When you work hard consistently, your presence changes. People can feel it. But more importantly, you can feel it. You look in the mirror and know you're becoming someone dependable. There's something powerful about doing what most people avoid. When others stop, you keep going. When others complain, you focus. When others wait for motivation, you move with purpose. That's how you separate yourself, not from them, but from your old self. The version of you that used to make excuses starts to fade. A new version takes its place, one built on discipline, self-respect, and earned trust. It's not dramatic or loud, it's steady. Real confidence never shouts, it shows. Working hard until you trust yourself means you understand that results take time. You stop expecting instant change, you learn patience, you realize that every small step counts. You stop chasing shortcuts because you know shortcuts steal strength. When you do things the right way, even when it's slow, you grow from it. You learn endurance, you build mental toughness. You start to feel comfortable with hard work instead of avoiding it. The world often sells quick fixes and overnight success stories, but those don't last. The people who build something real, something lasting, are the ones who do the hard, boring, consistent work every day. The ones who don't wait for perfect conditions. The ones who keep showing up. That's how you create a life that stands strong no matter what happens. Hard work becomes your anchor. It gives you peace because you know you've done what was required. When you work hard for something, you appreciate it more. You protect it more. You respect yourself more. Because deep down, you know you earned it. You can look back and remember the nights you stayed disciplined, the moments you chose focus over distraction, and the times you pushed through tiredness. Those moments build character. They remind you that you are capable of doing difficult things, and once you know that, there's very little that can shake you. Trusting yourself doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes. It means you'll handle them differently. You won't fall apart when things go wrong. You'll correct, adjust, and move forward. Hard work teaches you resilience. It gives you the strength to keep going when the plan changes. Because once you've put in the effort, failure doesn't feel final, it feels like feedback. You understand that growth is a process, not a performance. Every time you take action, You cast a vote for the person you want to become. One workout doesn't make you strong. One good day doesn't define your discipline. But over time, those actions add up. They create a pattern. They form an identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That identity becomes powerful. It pushes you to keep going. It keeps you grounded when life gets unpredictable. That's the reward of hard work. It changes who you believe you are. There will be times when it feels like no one notices your effort. You'll feel invisible, underappreciated, maybe even overlooked. But those are the moments when your trust in yourself matters most. Because you're not working for applause, you're working for growth. You're building something internal, something no one can take away. The recognition may come later, but even if it doesn't, you'll still have something far more valuable: self-belief. That's something no one can hand you. You have to earn it. When you push yourself past comfort, you begin to see the truth about who you are. You see that you can endure more than you thought. You realize you've been underestimating yourself. The limits you thought were real were just habits of doubt. Each day of effort chips away at those limits. Eventually, the voice that says, "I can't," fades, and a new one takes its place. "I've done it before, I can do it again." That's what trust sounds like inside your mind. Hard work builds credibility. When you've put in the effort, you don't have to convince anyone, including yourself, that you deserve success. You know it. You've done the work. You've earned your place. That inner certainty changes everything. You stop chasing validation because you already feel complete. You stop fearing competition because you trust your preparation. That kind of peace doesn't come from luck. It comes from discipline. Some people look for motivation before they act. But the truth is, action creates motivation. When you start moving, when you start doing the work, your energy rises. You feel alive. You stop waiting to feel ready because you realize readiness is built through movement. Every time you take action, even in small steps, you build momentum, and momentum builds belief. You stop thinking, "Can I?" and start saying, "I will." You don't need to prove your worth to others. You need to prove your commitment to yourself. That's what hard work is. It's a daily reminder that your goals matter enough to act on. It's showing up not because it's easy, but because it's meaningful. Every morning you get up and do what you said you would do. You send a message to your future. "I'm serious about who I'm becoming." That message changes how you see yourself. It turns doubt into direction. There's a deep satisfaction that comes from earning your own respect. It's quiet but powerful. It shows in how you walk, how you talk, how you carry yourself. People who trust themselves don't need to brag or explain. Their actions speak clearly. They move with purpose. They don't fear challenges because they've trained through hard work. They've built evidence that they can handle life. That's what trust gives you: certainty built from effort. To work hard until you trust yourself is to understand that consistency is greater than intensity. Anyone can push hard for a day or two, but those who stay consistent, even when the excitement fades, are the ones who transform. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Feelings come and go, but habits stay. Build habits that keep you moving forward, regardless of mood or circumstance. That's how you turn effort into results. At the end of the day, trust is the quiet voice inside that says, "I'll find a way." It's not loud. It doesn't need to be. It's built from experience, from doing the hard work, from following through. When you trust yourself, you don't panic in uncertainty. You adapt. You adjust. You move forward with calm conviction. Because you know you've handled tough situations before, and you'll handle this one too. That's the kind of person you become through effort and discipline. Not someone perfect, but someone reliable. Someone who doesn't just talk about change but lives it. Someone who can look in the mirror and say with honesty, "I trust me." And that, more than anything else, is what freedom feels like. It's not the absence of struggle, it's the confidence that no matter what happens, you can rely on yourself to rise again.
Chapter 3. Do better than your last version. Every day gives you a new opportunity to improve, to look at who you were yesterday and quietly decide, I can do better. Growth isn't about competition with anyone else. It's about raising your own standard, step by step, choice by choice. The truth is, you don't need to outshine anyone, you just need to outgrow yourself. Every version of you deserves respect, because each one brought you here, but none of them should be your final stop. Life moves forward, and you must move with it. The person you were last week should not be the person you are today. The goal is not perfection, the goal is progress. When you wake up in the morning, you have two choices: continue doing things the same way, or make a small adjustment that moves you closer to your potential. That adjustment doesn't have to be massive. It can be something as simple as being more patient, more focused, more consistent. Real growth happens through small improvements, repeated over time. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to change one habit, one reaction, one decision, and keep improving from there. The reason most people stay stuck is that they measure themselves against others instead of their own progress. They see someone ahead and think they're behind. They forget that everyone is walking a different path with different challenges. The only fair comparison is between who you are now and who you were before. When you compete with yourself, you stay honest. You don't fake success. You don't pretend. You work on your own weaknesses with humility and purpose. That's what doing better than your last version really means. It means asking yourself simple but powerful questions. Did I learn something new today? Did I handle stress better than before? Did I show more patience, more discipline, more gratitude? Those small wins matter. They build confidence. They create momentum. Every time you do something a little better than before, you prove to yourself that you're capable of growth. That belief changes how you see the world. Challenges stop looking like problems and start looking like chances to evolve. Doing better than your last version also means being honest about where you fall short. Not in a way that brings shame, but in a way that brings awareness. When you see your patterns clearly, you gain control over them. You start noticing when you repeat mistakes, when you give in to distractions, when you choose comfort over progress. Awareness gives you power. Once you see what holds you back, you can change it. Improvement starts with responsibility. The courage to admit, I can do better, and the discipline to prove it. Improvement is not about being busy, it's about being intentional. Many people work hard, but never move forward because they repeat the same unproductive pattern. To do better, you must pause and evaluate. Ask yourself what's actually working. Ask what needs to change. Maybe it's your routine, your focus, or the way you treat yourself. The person who takes time to reflect always grows faster than the one who just keeps running. Reflection helps you see the difference between effort and progress. You can't build a better version of yourself without self-respect. You must believe you're worth improving. You must value your growth enough to invest effort into it. No one can do that for you. No one can live your discipline or feel your hunger. This is your journey, and every decision shapes the kind of person you become. Each day, you get to choose between staying the same or becoming stronger. And those choices compound over time. They create a life that feels different, more stable, more confident, more meaningful. Some days you'll feel like you're not improving fast enough. You'll get impatient, wondering why change feels slow. But remember, progress is often quiet. You may not notice the shift while it's happening. But one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. You'll see that your reactions, your habits, your thinking, all of it evolved. You became calmer under pressure. You became kinder to yourself. You started finishing things you once avoided. That's how real transformation happens. Gradually, steadily, silently. Doing better than your last version also means forgiving the past version of yourself. You can't grow if you keep punishing yourself for mistakes. The person you were then didn't know what you know now. That person acted from fear, from confusion, from lack of experience. Growth means using your past as a teacher, not a prison. When you forgive, you free yourself to improve. You give yourself permission to move forward without dragging old guilt behind you. You have to see progress as something within your control. Improvement doesn't depend on luck or circumstances, it depends on your choices. You might not control everything that happens, but you always control how you respond. You can choose patience over anger, consistency over excuses, learning over comfort. Those choices define your future. The difference between who you are and who you want to be lies in the decisions you make daily. Each day brings moments where you can raise your standard. When you feel tired, you can still finish the task. When you're discouraged, you can still keep your word. When you're tempted to settle, you can choose effort. Those are the moments that build strength. They prove that your commitment isn't based on convenience, it's based on purpose. You begin to see yourself as someone dependable, someone who follows through, someone who keeps growing no matter what. That identity becomes your foundation. Doing better than your last version means building habits that serve your future, not your comfort. It means managing your time with intention, taking care of your body, feeding your mind with things that expand it. It means showing respect for yourself through discipline. Growth is a form of self-respect. You improve not because you dislike who you are, but because you care enough to evolve. You want to live with clarity, energy, and direction. You want to see what you're truly capable of. The best part about focusing on your own progress is that it gives you peace. You stop rushing. You stop comparing. You move at your own pace, with confidence. You realize that every day of effort counts, even if no one sees it. You start to enjoy the process more than the reward. You find fulfillment in the act of improving itself. That's where real motivation lives, not in results, but in the pride of becoming a little better than yesterday. Growth also means facing resistance. Every new level of yourself will challenge your old habits. The mind will try to pull you back to comfort. It will whisper that you've done enough, that you can relax, that it doesn't matter. That's when you remind yourself that progress never stops. The moment you stop growing, you start declining. The moment you stop learning, you start repeating. You must keep stretching your limits, even in small ways, to keep your life expanding. Doing better also means setting new standards. What used to be acceptable no longer is. You start holding yourself to higher expectations, not out of pressure, but out of pride. You speak better to yourself. You show more gratitude. You make choices that align with your goals. You start living with purpose, instead of reacting to life. That's when improvement stops being effort, and starts being identity. It's easy to want a better life. It's harder to become a better person. But real change always begins inside. When you improve yourself, your results naturally follow. Better habits bring better outcomes. Better focus brings better performance. Better mindset brings better peace. Everything outside improves when everything inside strengthens. That's why you can't skip personal growth. It's the foundation of everything else. You'll notice that the people who keep improving are rarely the loudest. They're not posting every move or seeking attention. They're quietly building something solid. They don't rush the process because they know real growth takes time. They've accepted that discipline and patience are partners. They're willing to start again every day. That's what separates people who talk about success from people who live it. When you aim to do better than your last version, You start appreciating effort more than outcome. You stop chasing perfection because you realize it doesn't exist. You focus on consistency. Instead, you learn to be patient with the process and proud of the effort. You stop giving up after mistakes because you understand mistakes are part of learning. You stop being afraid of failure because you know each setback teaches something new about yourself. Improvement is personal. It's not something anyone else can measure for you. It's how you feel inside, how you carry yourself, how you handle challenges. It's when you start responding differently to things that used to upset you. It's when you start following through instead of talking about it. Those are the quiet signs of progress, the ones that show real maturity. Every morning, remind yourself that you're not here to repeat yesterday. You're here to build on it. Yesterday's effort was enough for then, but today demands more. You owe it to yourself to see how far you can go, how disciplined you can be, how much you can grow. That's not pressure, it's purpose. The purpose to evolve. The purpose to live a life that reflects your potential. When you keep improving, something beautiful happens. You stop fearing the future. Because you know that whatever comes, you'll handle it as a better version of yourself. You stop needing everything to be easy. You start focusing on becoming capable. You start trusting the process, because you know every challenge is shaping you into someone stronger. Growth becomes your security. It gives you peace in uncertainty, because you know you can adapt. Doing better than your last version isn't about speed, it's about direction. You might move slowly, but as long as you're moving forward, you're progressing. Every small step counts. Every lesson counts. Every disciplined decision counts. One day, all those small improvements will add up to something massive. You'll look back and realize that your persistence created transformation. And when that moment comes, when you see how much you've changed, not because of luck, but because of effort, you'll feel a deep sense of pride. Not arrogance, but quiet satisfaction. The kind that doesn't need to be announced. The kind that lives in your heart and says, I'm growing, I'm getting better. That feeling becomes your fuel. So every day, wake up with one mission. Do a little better than before. Speak better. Think better. Work better. Treat yourself better. Improve one habit, one thought, one choice. Keep stacking those small improvements, because one day, they'll turn into something extraordinary. A life that reflects your growth, a mindset built on strength, and a version of you that keeps getting better no matter what life brings.
Chapter 4. Win your own respect through effort. There comes a point in life when you realize that respect cannot be demanded, not even from yourself. It has to be earned through what you do, not what you intend to do. The truth is, every person wants to feel proud of who they are, but pride without effort is just illusion. Real pride, the kind that makes you stand taller and breathe deeper, comes from knowing you've worked for it. You've put in the time, the energy, the patience. You've stayed honest when it would have been easier to quit. That's how you win your own respect through effort. Not luck, not talk, not promises. You can't fake self-respect. You can look confident for a moment. You can speak like you have it all figured out, but deep down you always know the truth. You know when you've been lazy. You know when you've cut corners. You know when you've done just enough to get by. And you also know when you've given everything you had, even if no one else saw it. That's the moment you earn your respect. The quiet knowing that you showed up for yourself when it mattered most. People spend a lot of time worrying about what others think of them, but the real question is, what do you think of yourself? When you're alone with your thoughts at night, when there's no one to impress, can you honestly say you're proud of how you lived today? That's not about perfection, it's about effort. It's about knowing that you gave your best with what you had. The days you can say I gave it my all are the days that build inner strength, brick by brick. Effort has a way of healing self-doubt. When you work hard for something,
The negative voices in your head begin to lose their power. They say you're not good enough, but then your results, your habits, your consistency prove otherwise. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe that you deserve better because you've earned it. That's the foundation of self-respect. It's not given. It's built through every disciplined act, every early morning, every late night, every time you push past excuses. The interesting thing about respect is that it's not about achievement, it's about alignment. It's about your actions, matching your values. You might not be at the top yet, you might still be struggling, but if you're working with honesty, if you're putting in the real effort, you can look at yourself with dignity. That's something success can't buy. You don't need to have everything figured out to respect yourself. You just need to know you're trying sincerely. Life will test that sincerity. There will be days when effort feels pointless, when progress is invisible, when fatigue sets in, and you wonder if it's worth it. Those are the days that shape your character, because effort isn't about doing what's easy, it's about doing what's necessary. When you keep showing up in those moments, you send yourself a message: I'm reliable. That message is the seed of self-respect. You begin to stand differently, to think differently, because you've proven to yourself that you don't give up easily. You can't buy that kind of feeling. It doesn't come from praise or applause. It comes from action, small, consistent action, finishing the task you said you would, following through on your word, putting your energy into the right things instead of wasting it on excuses. The more you practice integrity through effort, the more you start to respect your own word. You stop saying I'll try and start saying I'll do it. And when you do it, your confidence grows quietly, naturally, without forcing it. You see, respect isn't something that appears all at once. It's built through layers of discipline. Every good decision you make adds another layer. Every time you resist the easy path, you strengthen the foundation. Over time, you start to feel grounded, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You can face challenges without fear, because you know you can rely on your effort. That's real power, knowing that no matter what happens, you'll show up. One of the biggest reasons people lose self-respect is inconsistency. They make promises they don't keep to others, but especially to themselves. They talk about goals, but don't follow through. Every time that happens, something inside them weakens. The trust they have in themselves starts to fade. But the good news is, it can always be rebuilt. Every day is another chance to keep your word. You don't need to make huge declarations. You just need to follow through on small commitments. Wake up when you said you would. Complete what you start. Speak truthfully. That's how you restore faith in yourself. Effort has another gift. It creates clarity. When you work hard for something, you begin to understand what actually matters. You stop chasing things that don't fulfill you. You stop comparing your journey to others. You focus on your lane, your purpose, your progress. That's when effort turns into freedom. Because when you respect yourself, you stop living for validation. You stop waiting for permission. You know your worth because you've earned it. Winning your own respect means raising your standards. Not because someone told you to, but because you expect more from yourself. You stop settling for half-hearted work. You stop making excuses for laziness. You hold yourself accountable. And accountability doesn't mean being harsh. It means being honest. It means saying I could have done better today, and then actually doing better tomorrow. That's the difference between guilt and growth. Guilt keeps you stuck. Growth moves you forward. The person who wins their own respect through effort is not the loudest in the room. They don't need to announce what they're doing. Their effort speaks for them. You can feel it in their presence, the quiet assurance, the calm confidence, the grounded energy. They don't rely on motivation because they've built discipline. They don't need recognition because they already feel fulfilled. They know that respect, earned internally, lasts longer than any external validation. Effort changes how you see yourself. When you consistently put in the work, even when it's uncomfortable, you stop viewing yourself as someone who gives up easily. You see yourself as strong, dependable, focused. That shift in identity changes everything. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop waiting for the right time. You start acting with purpose. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-image improves. You no longer need to convince yourself that you're capable. You've already proven it. Sometimes effort doesn't bring quick results, and that can be frustrating. But results aren't the main goal here. Respect is. When you do the work with full integrity, you already win. You're building a deeper kind of reward, peace of mind. That peace comes from knowing you didn't take shortcuts, that you gave everything you could. Even if it takes time for the world to notice, you've already gained something valuable inside. Effort also builds humility. When you work hard, you start to appreciate other people's effort too. You understand what it takes to succeed. You stop judging quickly, because you know how much unseen work goes into growth. Respecting your own effort teaches you to respect others genuinely, not out of comparison, but out of empathy. You start to see that everyone is fighting a battle, and that makes you kinder without being weak. One of the most important parts of earning your own respect is staying consistent in private. It's easy to perform well when others are watching, but who are you when no one sees? That's where true character forms. When you still give your best, when the reward isn't visible, when you still show integrity in silence, that's when effort becomes a reflection of who you are. You can't lie to yourself about that. Deep down you always know when you've earned your peace. When you start living this way, something changes inside you. You begin to demand more from yourself, but not from a place of pressure, rather from pride. You start to take care of your mind and body because you respect them. You start setting boundaries because you value your time. You stop allowing negativity into your life because you've worked too hard to protect your energy. These changes come naturally when you start seeing yourself as someone worthy of respect. There's a satisfaction that only effort can give. It's not the excitement of a quick win. It's the quiet contentment that comes from knowing you didn't quit. You can look back at your day and feel at ease. Not because it was easy, but because you gave your best. That feeling is addictive in the right way. It builds momentum. It makes you want to keep improving, not for approval, but for pride. Effort is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. You can have dreams, goals, and plans, but they mean nothing without action. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent. It's work ethic. It's consistency. It's the willingness to do the hard thing again and again. Every ounce of effort compounds into something meaningful. That's how you build a reputation with yourself that no one can take away. When you start living by this principle, you stop fearing challenges. You know that effort will always protect you. Even if things go wrong, even if plans fail, you can still hold your head high, because failure doesn't erase effort. It proves courage. You faced discomfort, you faced doubt, and you kept going. That's something to respect deeply. And eventually, when you reach a moment of success, it feels different. It feels cleaner, richer, more honest, because you know it's yours. You didn't take the easy road. You didn't fake your way through. You earned it. And that kind of success stays with you. It doesn't fade, because it's built on the foundation of discipline, honesty, and hard work. Winning your own respect through effort is one of the most powerful transformations you can experience. It changes how you walk through life. You move with confidence, but without arrogance. You treat others with kindness, but never forget your own standard. You no longer need to prove anything to the world, because your actions have already proven everything to yourself. And that right there is where freedom begins. when your respect for yourself is stronger than anyone's opinion. Chapter 5. Push limits to see your real strength. There's a point in every person's life when comfort starts to feel too small. You begin to sense that staying where you are is no longer enough. You feel something inside urging you to grow, to test yourself, to find out what you're really made of. That's what it means to push your limits, to stop living safely and start living fully. Most people never get to see their real strength because they stop the moment life gets uncomfortable. They mistake pressure for failure and challenge for danger. But the truth is, your greatest power hides behind your resistance. You won't find it sitting still. You find it when you decide to go one step further than you think you can. The limits you think you have aren't as solid as they appear. They're shaped by habit, fear, and self-doubt. You believe them because they've kept you safe, but they've also kept you small. The only way to discover your real strength is to walk past those mental boundaries and prove them wrong through action. You'll never know how strong you are until you have to be. It's not about chasing pain or exhaustion. It's about breaking the invisible walls that convince you to stay where you are. Strength is not built in comfort, it's built in challenge. Every time you push yourself into the unknown, your mind and body adapt. You learn that the discomfort you feared is temporary, but the growth it creates is permanent. You realize that fear doesn't disappear before action, it fades after it. You start to see that struggle is not punishment, it's preparation. Every moment that tests you is shaping you into someone tougher, wiser, and more capable. Pushing limits begins with a simple choice to stop holding back. You can't grow if you always play it safe. The safest path may protect you from failure, but it also protects you from progress. Growth asks for courage. It asks you to take risks, to face discomfort, to let go of control. The person who avoids difficulty also avoids strength. When you stretch beyond what's easy, you meet a version of yourself that you didn't know existed, and that version is powerful. When you decide to challenge your limits, you'll face resistance. Not just from the world, but from your own mind. Your brain will tell you to stop, to rest, to settle. It will remind you of every past failure, every reason why you can't. That's where the real battle happens, between the voice that wants to grow and the one that wants to stay comfortable. Pushing limits doesn't mean ignoring pain or burnout. It means learning to distinguish between what's breaking you and what's building you. Growth hurts, but it shouldn't destroy, it should strengthen. The first time you push past your comfort zone, it's uncomfortable. You'll doubt yourself. You'll feel uncertain. But once you get through it, something shifts inside. You gain proof that you can handle more than you thought. That proof builds confidence. Not the loud kind that needs attention, but the quiet kind that says, I can rely on me. Every time you go further than before, your mind rewrites its definition of possible. Slowly, the things that once intimidated you become normal. That's how progress feels. It's not loud or dramatic, it's steady and undeniable. Pushing limits also teaches humility. It reminds you that growth is earned, not given. You can't fake endurance. You can't fake effort. The work reveals the truth. It shows you where you're strong and where you're weak. It forces honesty, but honesty is a gift. Once you know your weaknesses, you can work on them. Once you see your blind spots, you can correct them. The process of growth is not about being perfect, it's about becoming aware. Awareness leads to improvement, and improvement leads to strength. Every challenge you face has a lesson hidden inside. Some lessons are about patience, some about persistence, others about resilience. But you only learn them by going through the difficulty, not by avoiding it. When you push limits, you stop asking for an easier path and start asking for stronger shoulders. You stop wishing for fewer problems and start wishing for greater skill. That's when your mindset begins to mature. Life stops feeling like an obstacle course and starts feeling like a training ground. When you put yourself in challenging situations, you see what you're capable of under pressure. You discover how disciplined you can be when motivation fades. You learn how focused you can stay when distractions surround you. Strength is not just physical, it's mental and emotional. It's the ability to stay calm in chaos, to act with purpose under stress, to keep faith when outcomes are uncertain. Those abilities are not built by avoiding difficulty, they're built by enduring it. The beauty of pushing your limits is that it doesn't just build strength, it builds self-respect. When you do something you thought you couldn't do, you change your relationship with yourself. You start to believe in your own capability. You stop underestimating yourself. You stop being afraid of failure because you've seen that it doesn't define you. Every time you face something hard and push through, you grow a little braver. And bravery, repeated enough times, becomes strength. You can't measure real strength by what you do when everything goes smoothly. True strength shows when you're tired, frustrated and tempted to quit, but you don't. It's in the moments when no one is watching, and no one will ever know how hard it was. It's in the effort that goes unseen, in the battles fought in silence. That's where your limits are truly tested, and where real growth happens. Pushing limits also changes how you view fear. Instead of seeing it as a stop sign, you begin to see it as a signal, a sign that you're about to grow. Fear is not the enemy. Avoidance. Courage doesn't mean you stop being afraid. It means you move forward despite the fear. Every time you take action while afraid, you expand your capacity for courage. What once paralyzed you becomes something you can handle. That's how strength multiplies. It's built one brave decision at a time. When you challenge yourself daily, you start to crave growth instead of comfort. You start looking for opportunities to test your skills. You want to see how far you can go, how sharp you can become, how much discipline you can build. This isn't about punishment or perfection. It's about curiosity. The desire to see your full potential, because somewhere deep inside, you know that you haven't yet touched your limits. You've only lived within the boundaries you accepted. It's important to remember that limits are different for everyone. Pushing yourself doesn't mean comparing yourself to others. It means surpassing your own expectations. Maybe for you, pushing limits means waking up earlier, focusing more deeply, speaking up when you'd normally stay quiet, or facing a fear that's been holding you back for years. Every act of courage counts. Every time you do something that stretches your capacity, you build more strength for the next challenge. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to let go of who you were. The habits, thoughts, and behaviors that kept you safe won't help you grow. You have to trade comfort for progress. You have to trade fear for courage. You have to trade excuses for effort. Those trades are not easy, but they're necessary. Each time you push beyond your old patterns, you evolve. You begin to realize that life rewards the brave, not the comfortable. As you continue pushing your limits, something shifts inside you. You stop fearing hard work. You start respecting it. You stop trying to avoid challenge and start appreciating it. You realize that the more you stretch yourself, the more capable you become. You find pride in effort itself, not just in outcomes. The process becomes the reward, because through effort you're not just achieving goals, you're transforming your character. There will be times when you'll fail, and that's part of the process. Failure doesn't mean you've reached your limit. It means you've found your current edge. Your job is to expand that edge. Learn from it. Adjust your approach. Come back stronger. Every setback is data. Every mistake is feedback. Strength isn't built by avoiding mistakes. It's built by recovering from them. The faster you get back up, the stronger you become mentally. Your potential doesn't grow by chance. It grows by challenge. You can't uncover your strength in comfort zone. The comfort zone feels safe, but it slowly weakens you. The challenge zone feels risky, but it builds you. That's where your self-belief grows, where your discipline sharpens, where your mindset hardens. Pushing limits is not a one-time act, it's a daily decision to keep evolving. When you reach a point of exhaustion and still give a little more, that's where breakthroughs happen. The human mind and body can do far more than they appear capable of. It's not the body that gives up first, it's the mind. When you train your mind to go further, your life changes. You stop quitting early. You stop doubting your ability to endure. You realize that strength was never about avoiding pain. It was about moving through it with purpose. Once you experience